Carlsen? Or is this still... Oh! What's happening?
You were talking about a blunder by Magnus Carlsen.
I think it's happened because he's going to lose a pawn.
Has he? If White's bishop takes the pawn, though, can Black's rook not fork the two bishops, attack the two bishops?
They can be forked. Okay, so let's work it out.
Oh, wow. I think...
The player is not giving away any reaction to this. What's happening?
I'm trying to work it out. I think maybe Magnus Carlsen has blundered. It does look like he will lose that black pawn. It looks so comfortable for so long. I don't really understand why he shifted his king away from the protection of his own pawn there. The black king now in kind of in no man's land. It wants to dart across and defend the pawn, but it does look like Daniel Dubov, maybe he's found a way to bring his king and his bishop to attack that black pawn. Now isn't the moment to capture it still, because if White's bishop goes up and takes that pawn, Black's rook will drop up, attacking both bishops at the same time with a double attack. So White still has to be a bit careful. There we see improving the bishop, and maybe White's king is just creeping into the position. It's still not easy.
Yeah, because the rook is now not so well placed.
Yeah,
it's vulnerable to a check that will kind of skewer the rook and the king. So I'm just looking at, okay, well, if the king tries to defend the pawn, well, maybe White can give a check. And then the king has to step backwards.
And there we go. Black's king does sidestep to defend its own pawn. But now, as Ivanka mentions, the black rook, it's just within distance of the bishops. It should stay as far away as possible. It should start checking from behind or go to one of the sides of the board. Rooks are so good at that. But suddenly, Daniel Dubov, he's playing very confidently. That last move, maybe not the most accurate, but he's going...
Can the king snake its way round the back and become a little bit of an attacker?
Dubov, I think he panicked because of the clock situation. He's just put his bishop back from where it came from, but he's allowing Magnus Carlsen to put his rook on a better square now. Magnus won't repeat the position. Dubov realised he made a mistake by putting his bishop on the edge of the board. Maybe the win has disappeared again. I think the winning technique was to bring his bishop round the other way, to bring his bishop round to check the white king, check the black king from the right side of the board. But now maybe the win has disappeared. He did trick Carlsen. He did confuse him with his play with the bishops. But yeah, I mean, we should say the win, it was far from simple. Computers pointed out because computers can see far, far in advance. But for humans, it's very difficult to realise which square is the optimal squares for the bishops. And now Dubov, we can see in his expression, he knows that he's had to retreat now. He's lost the kind of momentum that he built up over those last few moves.
And now the king can shuffle and protect the pawn. Yeah. Because before, you know, he had somehow arranged the two bishops, so it wasn't that easy for the king to protect the pawn. So this is why there was a moment, I think, where White could actually have gotten the king round the back and come and attacked that pawn. And that could have made things difficult for Magnus.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with this latest development now, okay, Magnus making another move, but is it looking even harder for Daniel Dubov now to make that win that he really wants here?
You say that, Kaya. Magnus he's put his rook on the wrong square. I do not understand that move at all, to be honest. I would have loved to see Magnus's face.
Yeah. Look at Magnus there. He realizes.
Yeah, he realizes. But Daniel Dubov, why did he retreat his bishop? He could have pushed his bishop forward, attacking that pawn. I think Black would have lost that pawn immediately. There was simply no way to defend it. Daniel Dubov not going for the right idea. Maybe he's still got some chances, but he's letting Magnus off the hook here.